She was writing homework on the board in room 9B. A sound came from the floor below. No student heard it. She did. She locked the door. Moved 23 students to the back wall. Stood between them and whatever was coming. The Navy SEALs reached her classroom and stopped. One word came through the radio. Her call sign. They recognized it instantly. She had not heard it in 3 years. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. It is Tuesday. The kind of Tuesday that smells like old paper and dry erase markers. The kind of Tuesday where the heater in the corner makes a soft clicking sound every 4 minutes, and 3 students have already asked if they can open a window, and Ms. Marina has already said yes, and the window is open, and a small cold breeze is moving the edges of the papers pinned to the back wall. The papers are student essays. Each one has a red mark at the top. Not a grade. A small star. Ms. Marina does not grade with numbers. She grades with questions written in the margins. Questions like, what did your character want that they could not say out loud? And, where does this sentence actually end? And once, to a boy named Derek who wrote about his dog dying, this is true. You can tell. That is the hardest kind of writing. Well done. Ms. Marina is writing homework instructions on the whiteboard. Her handwriting is even. Not pretty. Even. Every letter the same height. Every word spaced the same distance from the next. She uses a blue marker on Tuesdays. She has used a blue marker on Tuesdays for 2 years. Before that, she used other things in other places. She does not think about those things on Tuesday mornings. She thinks about the homework instructions. She thinks about which student will need extra time and which student will finish early and ask for something harder, because there is always one student who asks for something harder, and this week that student is Priya. The students of 9B are half listening and half looking at their phones and half talking to each other, which adds up to more than a whole, but that is how 9th graders work, and Ms. Marina knows this, and she does not stop it, because she is listening to something else. She is always listening to something else. The something else is nothing today. It is just the school, the sound of hallways, other classrooms, a door closing 2 floors down, the heating system, the faint noise of outside traffic. She hears all of it. She sorts all of it. She puts it in the right place, which is, not a problem. She has been doing this for 2 years. Most days the sorting is easy. Most days everything goes in the not a problem place and stays there, and the blue marker keeps moving across the board and the students keep half listening and everything is fine. Today is not most days. But she does not know that yet. Right now she is writing the word character on the board. Priya sits in the second row, left side. She has her notebook open and she is writing down the homework instructions word for word, not because she needs to, but because she watches Ms. Marina's face when Ms. Marina writes, and something in that face makes Priya feel like paying attention is the safest thing she can do. Priya is the kind of student who trusts slowly and then completely. She trusted Ms. Marina after the 3rd week of school, when Ms. Marina read her essay out loud to the class, not to embarrass her, but to say, this is what good looks like, and then looked at Priya afterward and said nothing. Just nodded once. Like a period at the end of a sentence. That nod did something to Priya that she has not fully understood yet. It made her feel seen in a way that did not feel scary. Most of the time, being seen feels scary to Priya. With Ms. Marina it does not. Priya trusts Ms. Marina completely. She will show it today by doing exactly what Ms. Marina does. She does not know she is doing this. It will matter more than she knows. Priya also notices things. She noticed that Ms. Marina always checks the door when she enters the room, every single time. She noticed the bottom desk drawer is always locked. She noticed that when the fire alarm went off in October, Ms. Marina was already moving before the sound finished. These things live in Priya's head in a folder she has not labeled yet. Jordan sits in the back row, right side, by the window. Jordan is 15 and has a very loud laugh and is usually in trouble for something small, talking too much, phone out, late to class, the kind of trouble that means nothing and costs him nothing because his teachers like him and he knows it. He is the kind of person who makes a room feel warmer just by being in it. This is a real thing. Some people have it and some people do not, and Jordan has it without trying. Jordan is scared today of something he cannot name. He felt it when the noise came from the floor below. He felt it in his stomach first, before he heard it with his ears, and his ears are not sure they heard anything at all, and that uncertainty is worse than certainty would be. If he had heard something clear and loud he could point to it. He could say, that is the thing. But he heard something unclear and quiet and now he cannot point to anything and the not pointing is making his hands shake slightly, which he is hiding by pressing them flat on his knees. Jordan is close to panic. He is holding it back by watching Ms. Marina's face. Her face is calm, not the fake calm of someone pretending, but the real calm of someone who knows what to do. Jordan is using her face like a life jacket. He does not know he is doing this. Jordan's father is in the Navy. Jordan is proud of this in the way that hurts, the way that makes you stand up straighter at school and then lie awake at night thinking about ships and oceans and all the ways things go wrong far from home. He has never told anyone this. He wrote about it once in Ms. Marina's class. She wrote back in the margin, "The bravest thing you can do with fear is name it." You just did. Well done. He kept that paper. It is folded in his bag right now. Felix sits in the middle of the room, which is the middle of everything. Felix is new. He moved here from somewhere else 6 weeks ago and he still does not entirely understand how this school works, which teachers are fair, which rules are real, which hallways feel safe. He is still mapping the place. He will be mapping it for another month at least. This is just how Felix works in new places, slowly, carefully, with a lot of questions. He asks a lot of questions. Not because he is nervous but because he genuinely wants to know the answer. He asked Ms. Marina on his first day, "Why do you assign stories about ordinary people?" She looked at him for a moment, a real look, not a quick one, and said, "Because ordinary people are the ones who actually have to do things." Felix wrote that down. He has been thinking about it for 6 weeks. Today his questions will be useful. He does not know this. He will give Ms. Marina something to answer in a normal voice, and that normal voice will be the thing that holds 23 students together in a locked room on a Tuesday when everything outside the door is wrong. Felix does not know he is performing a function. He is just being Felix. These 3 are enough. The rest of 9B lives in their reactions. When Priya is still, the room is still. When Jordan breathes, the room breathes. When Felix asks a question, the room listens to the answer and for a moment stops listening to the silence. The sound came from the floor below. It was not a loud sound. That is the thing. Loud sounds are easier. Loud sounds happen and people react and the reaction tells you something. It tells you the sound was real, it tells you other people heard it, it tells you you are not alone in the hearing. Loud sounds give you something to hold. This sound was not loud. It was the kind of sound that arrives and then is gone before you are sure it arrived. And then the silence after it is slightly different from the silence before it. Not different in a way you can name. Just different. The way a room feels different after someone has left it, even before you look up and see the empty chair. If you have never been trained to notice that difference, you do not notice it. If you have been trained to notice it, you cannot stop. And you would give a great deal to go back to the time when sounds were just sounds and silence was just silence and a Tuesday was just a Tuesday. The lights flickered once. Not long. Half a second. The way lights flicker when something heavy moves through a building and finds a wire it was not supposed to find. The students looked up. One of them said whoa. One of them laughed. Then the light steadied and they looked back down at their phones and their notebooks and the homework instructions on the board. Ms. Marina stopped writing mid-sentence. The word on the board was character and the letter, R, was half drawn when her hand stopped. The marker was still touching the board. She did not lift it right away. She stood with it touching the board and she listened. She did not turn around quickly. She turned around slowly. The way a person turns when they already know what they are going to see and they are taking one more second before they have to see it. She looked at the door. The door was closed. The hallway through the small glass window in the door was empty and gray and normal. The students had not heard anything yet. She had. The first thing she did. She walked to the door. She did not walk fast. She walked the way she walks when she is going to check if the hallway is too loud, which she does sometimes, which the students have seen before. She put her hand on the lock and she turned it. One click. Soft. She kept her face easy. She said, to no one in particular, let me just close this up, it is getting loud out there. There was no noise in the hall. No student questioned this. She has never lied to them before. In 2 years she has told them hard truths in kind voices and she has never once said something that was not true. Today she is lying to keep them here, in this room, which is the safest place they have right now, and she is lying because she loves them, and she will think about this later when she has time to think about things. The second thing she did. She walked to her desk. She opened the bottom drawer, not the top drawer, which has pens and a stapler and a small bottle of hand lotion, the bottom drawer, which she has not opened in 3 years. She looked at what was inside. She did not take it out yet. The time for that was not yet. She closed the drawer. She pulled her cardigan straight with both hands. A small, precise motion. The kind of motion that says, I am ready. She walked back to the front of the room. The third thing she did. She looked at the room. Not at her students as her students. As 23 people in a space. She counted exits. 1 door, locked. 2 windows, 3rd floor. Left 1 open. She counted the students. 23. She counted them in under 4 seconds. She noted who was near the windows and who was near the door and who was already looking at her with that particular look, the look that means something is wrong and I am waiting for you to tell me what it is. Jordan was in the back with his hands flat on his knees. She noted Jordan. She noted Priya in the 2nd row, who was already watching her face. She noted Felix, who was writing something in his notebook and had not looked up yet. She knew something real about each of them. Jordan and his father and the folded paper in his bag. Priya and the way she trusts slowly and then completely. Felix and the question he asked on his first day and the way he has been thinking about the answer ever since. She knows these things because she reads what they write and they write what is true when they feel safe, and she has spent 2 years making this room the kind of place where they feel safe. She is going to keep it that way. The fourth thing she did. She spoke. She used the voice she uses for entirely ordinary things, the same voice she uses for open to page 47 and your essays were very strong this week and who can tell me what the word, protagonist, means. She said. Okay. I am going to ask you to do something a little different. I need you to move your chairs to the back wall. Away from the door and away from the windows. Just bring your bags. You can leave the desks. She paused. It is a new kind of drill. I forgot to mention it this morning. Sorry about that. She did not say don't worry. She has learned that people who say don't worry are worried. She did not say everything is fine. She said drill and she said it in the voice that means, this is a small thing, a boring thing, a normal Tuesday kind of thing, now please move your chairs. Priya moved first. Because Priya was watching her face. Then the others. 23 students, 23 chairs, the sound of them scraping across the tile floor, the sound of bags being picked up, someone dropping something, someone whispering to someone else, the whole soft shuffle of a classroom rearranging itself. Ms. Marina watched them move. She counted as they moved. When they were all at the back wall, she stood between them and the door. She has stood between things before. In places that do not appear on maps. In rooms with no windows. In hallways with no lights. In buildings that no longer exist. She has stood at the edge of things more times than she can count. And each time her body did what it was trained to do, and each time it worked, mostly, and she carried the times it did not work somewhere deep and quiet and did not take it out. She chose a classroom after all of that. She chose blue markers on Tuesdays and student essays with small stars at the top and homework about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and she made that choice with her whole self, and she has never regretted it. She is not regretting it now. She is standing between her students and the door, and she is not regretting a single Tuesday. She did not shake. She did not reach for her phone. She did not look for someone else to take over. She did not leave the room. This is what training does. You cannot put it away. You carry it quietly, like an old scar. You do not show it to people, you do not let it be the first thing about you. But it is there. Under the cardigan. Under the blue marker and the Tuesday routine and the life she chose and means. The body keeps the training. It waits. It does not get tired of waiting. Today it was useful. The radio crackled outside the door. Not loud. Teams are trained to keep the volume low in enclosed spaces. But she heard it. She heard the exact sound of it, the specific way that kind of radio pops and breathes before a voice comes through, and she knew immediately what kind of radio it was, and knowing that told her what kind of team was in the hallway, and knowing that told her something important. They were the right kind. She did not move yet. She stood still and she listened. Then she heard the word. One word. Said quietly, into the radio, by a man who was either unaware she could hear him through the door or was saying it loudly enough on purpose so that she would. The word was not her name. She has a name, Marina, and it is a real name, and it belongs to the woman who teaches 9B and coaches the debate team and knows every student by the thing behind their name. This word was not that name. This word was her call sign. A word that belonged to a version of her that she had been trying, for 3 years, to file somewhere she would not have to see it every day. Not because she was ashamed. Because she was done. Because she chose done. Because she built a life out of done, and the life was real, and she was proud of it. And then someone said her call sign outside room 9B on a Tuesday, and her whole body responded before her mind had time to decide how it felt about that. Her shoulders dropped. Half an inch. This is what happens when the body recognizes something, not something good, not something bad, just something known. The kind of recognition that is almost a relief because at least the waiting is over. Her hands went still. They had been carrying a small tightness, not shaking, not trembling, just gathered, and when the call sign came through the door the tightness let go. Slowly. Like a knot coming loose. Her breathing changed. In through the nose, slow, all the way down. Out slow. Not for the students. The students were not watching her breathe. This was for herself. This was the thing she was taught before anything else, the thing that came before every other piece of training: breathe first, then decide. She closed her eyes. One breath in. One breath out. She opened her eyes. She walked to her desk. She opened the bottom drawer. She took out the thing she had not touched in 3 years. It was small. It fit in her palm. Her hand remembered the weight of it the way her hand remembers the weight of a marker, not because she thinks about it, but because the muscle remembers. She put it in the pocket of her cardigan. She turned to the class. Felix was looking at her. He had a question, she could see it, the small forehead line, his mouth slightly open. She answered before he asked. "I will be right back," she said. In the voice she uses for entirely ordinary things. Stay here. Stay together. Priya is in charge. Priya looked up. She nodded. Not the nod of a student being told to watch the class. The nod of someone who understood that the nod meant something real. She might have understood. She is sharp, Priya. She notices things. Ms. Marina unlocked the door. She opened it. She stepped into the hallway. 4 men in tactical gear. They were moving carefully and quietly and very fast, and when she opened the door the one at the front raised his hand and the 3 behind him stopped. Clean. No sound. The hand went up and they stopped the way things stop when they have been trained to stop, completely, without leftover motion. She stood in the doorframe. She was wearing her cardigan. Her flat brown shoes. Her marking pen was still in her right hand because she had not thought to put it down. She looked like a 9th grade English teacher. She looked exactly like a 9th grade English teacher, the kind that stays late and answers emails and knows every student's real thing and cares about it. She also stood a very specific way. Feet apart. Weight even. Hands at her sides and visible. Her chin level. Not raised, level. The stance of someone who is fully present and fully ready and has no interest in showing either of those things to anyone who does not already know what they are looking at. The man at the front looked at her. He looked at her the way you look at something when you are deciding whether it is what you think it is. He looked for 3 seconds. Longer than the situation required. His team was still. His hand was still raised. Then he said her call sign. Out loud this time. Not into a radio. Into the hallway. Just to her. She said his. His team did not know he had one. Watch what happens in 4 soldiers when they hear a word they have never heard before come out of the mouth of a woman in a cardigan who is holding a marking pen. The soldier on the left is large and has been doing this for 11 years and has seen most things. His chin comes up 1 centimeter. Not surprise. The adjustment before surprise. He is recalculating who is in this hallway. The soldier beside him shifts his weight. Left foot to right. Small. He does not know he does it. He is the kind of person who is very good at staying still, and this tells you how much he has recalculated. The 3rd soldier, the youngest, by the look of him, maybe 2 years in, his grip on his gear changes. Tightens for 1 second. Then loosens. He makes a decision in that 1 second. The decision is, she is not what I thought she was. He starts watching her differently. He will keep watching her differently for the rest of this operation. The 4th soldier does nothing. No movement. No adjustment. He is the most experienced one, and the most experienced ones go completely still when they are thinking. He is thinking very fast. No one says anything. No explanation is needed. She did not push past him. She did not try to take over. She has worked with people like him before and she knows exactly how that works. You give them what they need and you let them use it. You do not take over from someone who knows what they are doing. You add to what they know. She spoke quietly. Close enough that only he could hear clearly. 3 pieces of information. Each one a sentence. The first, the east stairwell has a weak 3rd step. It has sounded different since January, when something shifted in the building frame. Anything moving up that stairwell puts weight on that step and the step makes a sound. You can hear it from the 2nd floor landing. If something is coming up that way, you will know before it arrives. He did not ask how she knew this. He is the kind of person who does not ask how when the information is clearly good. He saves the how for later. The second, the room at the end of this hall is marked storage on every building plan that exists. It is not a storage room. There is a storage room on the 2nd floor. This room has a key panel. The panel controls the PA system and the external door locks for the entire building. Someone who wanted to lock the building from the inside, to keep people in or keep help out, would go to that room. It is the most important room in this building and it appears on no document as anything but a closet. His jaw moved. Just slightly. He had been in this building for 12 minutes and he had not known this. She had known it for 14 months. She learned it the way she learned everything about this building, quietly, over time, without telling anyone, the way she used to learn every space she worked in. Because you learn the space. You learn it before you need to know it, because if you wait until you need to know it you are already too late. The third, the east window on the second floor, the one at the end of the science corridor, has been broken since October. A student threw something, it cracked along the seal, it was reported and then not fixed because the repair budget was used for something else. The window looks closed. It is not fully closed. It can be opened from the outside with 2 fingers and a small amount of patience. Anyone who did a site check on this building would see a closed window. Anyone who tested it would find a way in. He was quiet for 1 second. Then he adjusted. He used hand signals. His team moved. The younger one went right, toward the east stairwell. The large quiet one went left, toward the storage room. The other 2 stayed with the leader. No words. No explanation. They trusted him enough not to need one. He looked at her. He pointed to her. Then to the door of 9B. She went back in. The room was quiet when she entered. Not scared quiet, held quiet. The kind of quiet that a room holds when the person in charge of it has told it to be calm and the room believes that person. 23 students against the back wall, bags on their laps, watching her. Felix asked if everything was okay. She said yes. She said it the way she says yes, good job after someone reads their work out loud for the first time and their voice shook a little but they kept going. Warm. Meaning it. Felix accepted this and went back to his notebook. She does not know what he is writing. It does not matter. He is writing, which means he is okay, which is what matters. She pulled a chair from the nearest desk and set it in the middle of the room, facing the back wall, facing her students. She sat down. This was a choice. Standing would have looked like waiting. Sitting looked like, we are here for a while and it is fine and I am with you. She looked at Jordan. Jordan's hands were still flat on his knees. He was doing the breathing, slow, trying to make it look normal, not quite managing. She walked to the back wall. She did not make a thing of it. She stood near him. Not touching his shoulder, not looking directly at him, because direct attention in a quiet room makes everything feel more serious and this room did not need more serious. She just stood close enough that he could feel someone was there. Jordan breathed. Slower. That was enough. She knew it would be enough for Jordan because she knows Jordan. She knows that what Jordan needs when he is scared is not words. It is presence. Someone standing close. Someone who is not scared. She has known this since October, since she read his essay about his father, since she wrote the bravest thing you can do with fear is name it. She knew then what he needed. She knows now. She stayed near him for 2 minutes. Then she walked back to the front. Priya was counting the other students. Small, careful eye movements, left to right, back again. Ms. Marina saw this and did not let her face change. Priya was counting them the way Ms. Marina counts everything, the habit of making sure, the habit of knowing, the habit of not leaving without a full number. Ms. Marina looked at her for a half second and looked away. Not drawing attention to it. But filing it. Priya counts. Priya notices. Priya mirrors. Priya trusts completely and then acts on that trust without being told to. Ms. Marina will write about this later. In the small notebook she keeps in her bag. The one where she writes down what her students are becoming, not what they are. She has been keeping it for 2 years. Every student in 9B has a page. Some of the pages are long. Priya's page is the longest. She does not know if there will be a later today in which to write. She plans on there being one. She plans on it the way she plans on Tuesday being Tuesday, as a real thing, a coming thing, a thing she will be present for. Planning on it is a choice. She makes it on purpose. The hallway went quiet. Not silent. Quiet is not the same as silent. Quiet has weight in it, the weight of something being over. Quiet in a hallway after something ends is the sound of people breathing slowly and radios being turned down and shoes on tile and a voice far away saying a word that means, done. Ms. Marina stood at the door of 9B. The door was open now. She had opened it when the all-clear came through, she heard it through the wall, the frequency, the specific tone of a radio going from operational to standby. She opened the door before anyone told her to. Then she stepped to the side and she watched her students go. She counted them. She does not count because she has to. There is no rule that says she must count. There is no training module that says, stand at the door and count each face. She counts because counting is the thing under all the other things. The habit that started before every mission and ended after every mission and was the thing that told her when everything was actually done. You count the people in. You count the people out. You do not stop until the numbers match. 1, 2, 3, 4. The line moved slow, the way students move when they have been sitting still for a long time and their legs are not sure what to do. Someone was crying quietly. Not from fear, she has seen fear crying and this was not it. This was the crying that happens after, when the held thing can finally be let go. She let it go. She did not reach out and pat a shoulder. She did not say it's okay now. She let it go because it was honest and it was the right response and the students were safe and safe people are allowed to cry. Jordan went by. He looked at her. His mouth opened and she could see him trying to find something to say, something that would be the right thing, something that would say what he was feeling without him having to explain what he was feeling. He did not find the words. He never does, in the moment. He writes them later. He will write them tonight, she thinks, in the essay he does not turn in, the one he keeps for himself. She nodded at him once. He nodded back. He kept walking. Priya went by last. Because Priya was the last one out. Not because anyone told her to wait, because she waited on her own, to make sure the others were all moving, to count them herself, to make sure the number was right before she left. She walked out last, and when she passed Ms. Marina she did not say anything either. She looked at her for one moment. Just looked. Ms. Marina looked back. That was the whole conversation and it was enough. 23. She exhaled. She looked down the hallway. The storage room door at the end of the hall was open. She could see it from where she stood, the door that said storage on the outside and was not a storage room on the inside. The door was open and the light inside was on and two members of the team were still in there, doing the quiet careful work that happens after. She did not look inside. She did not need to. Some things you do not need to see directly to understand completely. She has learned this. It took a long time to learn it but she has. The east stairwell was blocked. A third team member was at the top of it, standing the way people stand when a thing has been handled and they are now making sure the handled thing stays handled. He was not looking at her. He was doing his job. She looked at him for 1 second and looked away. The second floor east window, the broken one, the one that looked closed and was not, had been found. She knew this because of the sound she heard 20 minutes ago, the sound that came up through the floor of 9B, the sound she recognized and her students did not. That sound was the window. That was when the thing that entered this building was no longer entering. That was when it became something else, something the team could see and address and handle in the way teams handle things. She did not need a report. She did not need a debrief. She needed the number 23 and she had it and that was the whole of what she needed right now. The hallway smelled like it always smells. Old building, old carpet, the faint chalk smell that comes from the art room 2 doors down. Normal. Ordinary. A school hallway on a Tuesday that had been many things today and was now, again, just a hallway. He was moving fast when he passed her. There was still work, there is always still work, even when the after feels like it should be enough. He passed the door of 9B and he stopped. His team kept moving. He let them. He stood in the hallway across from her. He looked at her in her cardigan and her flat brown shoes and her marking pen, which she was holding again, which she had taken back out of her pocket at some point without noticing. He did not say well done. He did not say thank you or anything from a debrief or a ceremony. She would not have wanted those things. He knew that. He said one sentence. He did not name a place. He named something small that happened in a place, a detail, a moment that only someone who was there would have seen, and only someone paying attention even then would have kept. The thing he named was warm. Human. Not about what they had done or what it had cost. About a moment in between, a quiet thing that had nothing to do with the work and everything to do with the people doing it. It told her, I saw you then. Not just what you did. You. And I still see you. Even now. In the cardigan. He kept walking. She stood at the door of 9B for a long time after. The hallway was empty. The school was quiet. The lights were steady. She went back in. The heater clicks every 4 minutes. Ms. Marina is at the board. New marker today. Not blue. Green. She has never used green on a Wednesday. She is using it today. It is a small thing and she knows it is small and she does it anyway, because small changes on ordinary mornings are how you tell yourself, yesterday happened and today is still here. New homework instructions. A new prompt. She writes it slowly and evenly, every letter the same height. The room fills in. Students come through the door and drop their bags and open their notebooks and look at the board. Someone opens the window. She does not say anything about the window. The same person opens it every day. She has been letting it happen for 2 years. The noise settles into half noise, which is the level 9B lives at before class starts, and she is familiar with that level the way she is familiar with the heater click and the smell of the room and the arrangement of 23 chairs. 23. She counts them as they come in. She will do this for the rest of the year. She does not think this is a problem. Some things, once they settle into you, are just part of how you move through a room. She has made peace with that. Felix raises his hand. She calls on him. He asks, Ms. Marina, were you scared yesterday? The room goes quiet. The real kind. The kind where everyone is in it at the same time, all breathing at the same pace, all waiting for the same thing. Ms. Marina puts the cap on her marker. She holds it in both hands. She thinks about the question. Not the way you think about questions when you want to look thoughtful. The way you think when the question is real and the person who asked it deserves a real answer. Felix waits. He is good at waiting. She says. I was scared of the wrong thing for most of my life. Yesterday, for the first time in a long time, I was scared of exactly the right thing. That is not a bad way to feel. Felix nods. He writes it down. He will think about it for 6 more weeks. Maybe longer. Priya looks at the window. Outside the window the sky is gray and ordinary and the trees are still and everything looks like a normal Wednesday, which it is, which is what she needs it to be. Jordan looks at Ms. Marina. He does not look away. She looks back at him for 1 second, just one, and then she looks at the whole class, all of them, all 23, and she uncaps her green marker. The heater clicks. She turns back to the board. She goes back to the homework. File closed. Identity, Ms. Marina. Location, Room 9B, English Literature and Creative Writing. Status, Present. Status, Teacher. Status, both of those things at the same time. Always.